So, why do you need a night vision camera?
These are dead after a boat crash on the Ohio River. We are waiting to learn the names of the victims in the overnight crash, which took place around 11 p.m. near the Purple People Bridge. Investigators say a barge collided with the boat and rescue crews pulled the wreck.
Has been missing for hours after a boat crash late last night on Lake Travis has been found this morning alive. Austin Travis County EMS says the man's been taken to Baylor Scott and White.
You can see a speedboat approaching fast from behind, then crashing right into the ferry. Emergency crews rushing to the scene.
Okay, let's talk about boat cameras. This will be an in-depth video on our boat night vision cameras, to be specific. I will be a little bit all over the place. I don't have a specific list, but I'll unbox the camera, I'll show the camera, I'll talk about some of the things that we come across every day, and let's get into it. So if you buy a camera from us, it comes in a waterproof case like this. This is a nice hard Pelican style case. It is waterproof, by the way, so if you wanted to use this to store electronics or important documents, it's perfect for that. Anyhow, let's open it up and see what's inside. So this is our boat night vision camera. It's pretty heavy duty. I'm going to put that on the side for just 1 second. We'll talk about this guy a little bit more, but let's see what's in the box first. So in the box we have a card. You have a card that has our contact info, so if you need any help with installation or have any questions, you can always reach out to us directly. It also has my cell phone, by the way, so you can call me directly. We always have a card in every box because we care about our customers. We have a little extra screw in here. A lot of times when people install our cameras, the screw drops, and depending on where your boat is, if it's in the water, then you're never gonna find that screw again. So instead of you having to wait a couple of days to get a new screw, we basically now include a extra screw in the box. Sorry, can't find my words today. All right, what else? We have a switch. So this is a toggle switch. Now you don't have to use the switch we provide. You can use any other switch on your boat. That's totally fine. But if you don't have a spare switch, then you can use ours. We do recommend that you install our cameras on a switch. It doesn't have to be our switch, but as long as it's on a switch. What we don't want is the camera is just sitting there for all day when you're on the boat and when you're not using it. So anyway, we have a switch. The last thing we have in the box is a whistle. So this is actually a funny one. A lot of customers, they don't know what this is, and they actually call us, but like, what is this thing? We have no idea. It's actually a safety whistle. We figured every boat in the US is required to have a safety whistle. So why not just give out a really cool custom BoatEye360 safety whistle? This thing's actually pretty loud, surprisingly. Here, I'll try it. Woo! I don't know if the mic picked it up, but it's pretty loud. I'm a little deaf now. Okay, so we're done with that. I'm going to put this stuff back in the box and put the box on the side. And we'll talk about the camera. Okay, so here's the camera. You can tell it's pretty heavy duty. So it's made out of 316L stainless steel. This is not plastic, it's not 304 stainless, this is 316L. I mean, it's a proper marine grade camera. Even the screws are titanium on this camera. When we're in the process of making these cameras, we wanted to make sure that it can handle pretty much anything. I mean, the harshest marine conditions out there, especially in the salt water. So there is no issues with corrosion because it is 316L. It has titanium screws, and on top of that, we also powder coat the cameras. As you can see, there's a black one right here. If you buy a camera from us, the default color is white because that's what goes on most boats. But for some reason you need a black one, we have it. Call us and we'll send you a black one instead to better match your boat. Also, if you wanted a custom color, let's say you have a gray boat or a blue boat or some other color, and if you wanted to color match it, we do also offer that service. There is an additional charge for different colors, but we do have that. And the other thing with that is we can try to color match as the best we can, but there is no guarantee that it will be the exact same color of your boat. Obviously, if you can provide us some paint codes and things like that, it helps us a lot. Even better if you can tell us which powder coat color is the matching one, because these are powder coated, so we can just buy that specific color and get it powder coated to match your boat. But we do have that service. I think we're the only one that offer that in the market right now. Okay, what else? So let's look at the ports on the back side. I'm going to remove this heat shrink on the side. So this one is an HDMI version. What does that mean? We have two versions right now, HDMI and RCA, or some people call it BNC or CVBS. But basically it's an analog video. So if your chart plotter has an HDMI input, which a lot of the modern chart plotters do, then we definitely recommend getting the HDMI version because it has the higher resolution. That being said, if you have a little bit older chart plotter or your chart plotter doesn't have a HDMI input, that's totally okay. We have an analog version that works just fine. It's the exact same camera, the only difference is output. So there's not a big difference other than resolution. If I take this cap off, you can see the HDMI port. There you go. All right, let's talk about the cables. So for the HDMI version, there's two cables that it comes with. This is the waterproof HDMI cable. So the waterproof end will go and screw into this side, and then this end will go to your chart plotter. Oh, one more thing, our screens. If your chart plotter doesn't have any video input, or let's say you only have one chart plotter and you need that for your charts, well, guess what? We have a external screen that we sell that's compatible with this camera. So you don't have to use your chart plotter. There's other options that you can choose from. So if you buy our screen, the screen also has HDMI input. So we recommend that you buy HDMI version with our screen to get the best resolution possible. Screen does have analog video inputs as well, but since it has HDMI, that's what we recommend. Why compromise? I guess. So, and then here's a power cable. So HDMI version will have two cables, one HDMI and then one power. It's pretty simple. You have power and ground cables with an inline fuse, pretty straightforward. And then this is for the RCA version. So if you had an RCA version, you would get the video also inside the power cable, meaning the RCA version is only one cable, not two. Does make it easier to run the cable because this HDMI cable is a little bit thick, so just throwing it out there. But anyway, here's the RCA connector. This is the BNC connector on top for the garments. But if you remove this, slides right off, here's your RCA jack. So this is pretty popular on Simrad units. So you'll plug and play directly. If you have Garmin, then you need this little connector. We also send most cameras with extra power cable because we understand that sometimes you're pulling on that cable too hard and it breaks. Things happen. So we always send an extra cable with every camera. You do not need to buy any separate cables unless you want, if let's say you broke two cables or you want a spare cable or if you want a longer cable. Talk about sizes. Yes, these are 26 foot by default, but we also have 36 foot, we have 50 foot, we have 100 foot. So if you have a really big vessel and you need those larger sizes, you can text us or email us and we'll take care of you and we'll send you a longer cable. Sometimes there's an additional cost for a longer cable. So just reach out to us but 26 foot is more than enough for most boats out there, because even on larger vessels you're only pulling cable from the roof to your cabin or your console, I should say. So it's not a huge run for most boats. All right, so let's put the cables on the side. The other thing I wanted to I guess I forgot is these cameras are also purged with dry nitrogen. So basically there is no moisture issue inside the camera because there is dry nitrogen in here. It's completely sealed, it's watertight. You can obviously mount it outside and not worry about this. But don't open the camera, because if you open the camera, then all that nitrogen gas will come out and then you will compromise that seal, and then you will have moisture issues in the front where the lens is. You will void the warranty. So we recommend not opening these cameras if you care about your warranty. Hey, otherwise you can do whatever you want. All right, so we talked about the camera, we talked about compatibility. What else? Warranty. So our camera comes with 60-day refund policy. If you happen to buy our camera and for some reason something doesn't work out, you sell your boat, your wife doesn't like it, whatever the reason is, you can send this back to us and we'll give you a full refund, no questions asked, within 60 days. After that, you have 1 year warranty. So if it breaks, we'll replace it for you. We're not one of those manufacturers where you have to wait for weeks or months to get your unit fixed. Usually what we do is you send your unit to us and we'll send a new one to you, and then we'll fix the old one and take care of it. We don't really fix and send back. All right, I'm going to look at my phone and see and make sure I don't miss anything here. All right, talk about installation. Yes, so you can install this camera upside down as well. What you would do is you take these 2 screws off. There's actually 4 total, 2 on each side, and you would just flip the housing inside the bracket, and then you can mount it upside down on your T-top. If you have the space, let's say you have a fiberglass T-top, I'd recommend putting this upside down. That way it's not in the way of anything else. It's not in the way of your radar. It's not in the way of your nav lights or anything like that up there. And it's also tucked underneath the roof, so it's nice in the shaded area, away from the elements. That being said, if that's not an option, then you can definitely mount it up top just like that, no issues at all. A lot of people ask is like, this camera is, it's pretty long. Can the mount hold it? Yes. I mean, you'll be surprised what a bolt can do and how much it can hold. We had no issues with it. If you don't have to go crazy with the screws, just hand tight them. If you go too crazy, then you take the risk of stripping them. So obviously just a quick snug and you're good to go. It will hold the camera in place just fine. But installation wise, yeah, you can go upside down or on top. That's not a problem. What else? Turn my air conditioning on. It's a little hot in here. You got the installation. Let's look at my list. Price. All right, so I won't go into the pricing too much because you can just go on the website and take a look at it. The pricing is changing and it will change. Right now we are selling these for $1,280 to $1,380, but by the time you watch this video, the pricing might be different. This is a special pricing. We're running a special on these. That's why it's low. Otherwise, these are $2,500 cameras. And I wish the video doesn't do the justice, but once you hold it, you'll truly understand how well built these cameras are and how great they look too. Okay. Let's talk about a little bit on what they do and why you should get one. So if you're somebody who goes out night fishing, if you take family out for late evening dinners or like nighttime dinners, you like to go camp out there on your boat, are you a cruiser, are you going to see the sunset and then you're coming back in the dark, you go fishing early in the morning before the sun comes out. Basically any nighttime boating, if you do that, this is a great tool to have. Or if you're wanting to do that, I know a lot of customers, they just don't go out at night because they don't feel comfortable driving their boats at night, and they flat out just don't go. Well, what this does is it really helps you see all the hazards in the water, your channel markers, your crab traps, other boats, kayakers, floating debris. I mean, we live in Florida. In fact, we manufacture these in Florida, and we've been through 2 hurricanes last year. And the amount of debris we have in the water, even after like 6 months to a year, there's still stuff floating in the water that we find, almost every day. So this really helps you see those things in out there when it's dark. How does the camera actually work? Well, the camera needs moonlight and starlight to function. What it does is it just takes whatever ambient light it can find, and then it will amplify it and make it basically looks like it's afternoon on your screen. But there's a lot more to it, but I'll just do a high level on it. So let's say if you go offshore, like 30, 40, 60 miles offshore, and there is no moon, no stars, nothing, will this camera work? The answer is not really, and I'm trying to be honest here. Any low light camera that's in the market, it's not going to work in a no light situation. You get it? It's a low light camera. It's not a no light camera. It needs very minute amount of ambient light. Even though the human eye cannot see it, the camera picks up that minute amount. So most of your inshore or nearshore, navigation, there is always some ambient light from nearby houses, buildings, cities, whatever. I mean, the light, if it's a big city, the light will hit the clouds and it bounce back. And like I said, very minute amount of light, all it needs to see in the dark. What about, let's talk about thermal cameras. So what's the difference? Thermal cameras, they work on heat signatures. These don't need any, they work on a visible spectrum basically. So they work more close to imagine your eyes, that are much more powerful. What else? I'm trying to think here. But yeah, so back to the topic, like you'll be fine using this camera 99%. Because there's always some ambient light out there, unless you're one of those fishermen that go out on a no moon, cloudy night, 40-50 miles offshore, and that's what you do every trip. Then maybe this is not for you. But other than that, we have we haven't had any customers that really complain. Maybe like 1 or 2 out of hundreds that use this camera. Overall, the feedback has been amazing, and we get messages from customers. In fact, we get pictures and videos from customers showing us how well these cameras work. In fact, we had pictures of floating logs, floating fridge, somebody's full house fridge in the water. But so yeah, there's cheaper than the gel coat of your boat. That's how one of my customers says it. And if it saves you one time from an accident, it will pay for itself. And it's a tool, just like anything else. You still have to pay attention. You still have to see where you're going. If you have other tools like radar, definitely use them. Do you need spotlights for these cameras? No, you don't. You don't need any light to be installed. Some manufacturers or other companies say you need IR lights. With our cameras, you really don't need IR lights. You can install it if you really wanted to. The camera will see it in that spectrum, but it's really not needed unless you live on some small island in the Bahamas or something where it's extremely dark every single night. There's no light pollution, no moon, no stars. Then maybe an IR light will help you. Just make sure it's a spotlight and not a floodlight, because what happens is the light will hit the bow of your boat and it will reflect back and it will blind the camera just like it blinds your naked eye. But again, for most customers, I would say like 99%, you really don't need any lights to aid the camera. That being said, if you already have a spotlight on your boat, which most boats do, use it. Great. More tools, the better it is. If you have radar, awesome. Use the radar, because the radars will give you the pings and tell you, okay, there is land here or there is boats here. But the radar might not pick up the floating objects. It might not pick up small buoys and markers. It all depends on, you know, how it's tuned and bowed and installed and all that good stuff. And even when it does detect, radar doesn't tell you what it is. So you might see like a red blob on your screen, but you might not know what it is. Example, channel markers. In Florida, well, you know, where we boat, you go in some channel and you exit the channel, there is like a sea of markers, and you have no idea where the channel is going. And the radar will show you like a bunch of dots on your screen, but you don't know what is green, what is red. You kind of have to match that with your chart plotter. With the camera, because it's full color, you can clearly see if it's a green or red marker. So it's super easy to identify those markers and see where you're going, basically, instead of having to, you know, go back and forth with your chart plotter. So in that sense, this really gives you the confidence to drive and navigate at night. You know, it makes the whole process a little bit easier and less stressful. Again, losing my words. So yeah, if you have any questions, reach out to us. Sorry you have to listen to a headless body. I was trying to arrange this, but I couldn't quite figure it out. So I figured this looks the best, so we'll do it this way. Again, we are a small company in Florida. We're not, you know, you call, we answer. We don't put you on hold. And in fact, there is not a way for us to put you on hold. So text us. We're pretty quick to respond back via text message, but email works too. If you're an international customer, you can message us on WhatsApp. We do ship this internationally as well. Obviously, the shipping will be different for international shipping. Shipping is free in the US, at least right now. It should be in the future as well. So again, we're a small business. We really care about our customers, and we care about the product. We make sure that it's going to like last for longer than your boat, basically. I mean, that's the goal here. We're trying to outlast your boat, and you know, boats, they live for a very, very, very long time. And that's something we had on our list when we when we made this product. Obviously, we have some parts from overseas, but almost everything else is done here locally in Florida, in the US. So, you know, this is built in US, and many, you know, we support everything from here. So again, I won't take too much of your time. Thanks for watching, and I probably missed few things. And if I didn't answer any of the questions that you might have, just give us a call, and we'll do our best to answer those. Thanks for watching. Be safe out there.